So what's up, guys? Tabisan here again. So yesterday, where were we? We ended up by just doing our first demo program, where we added two values and then print the answer to the screen of the computer as the output. Okay, let us jump in and take a closer look. I wouldn't want to make my videos very long, so remind me if I keep on going and going and going. Okay. Wow, I'll expect some feedbacks from you guys telling me whether I should make the videos short or longer. So move to our next slide. So we're gonna do a closer look at running the Java program. So you don't just run your program file as you saw yesterday. In your when you write your program, a Java program, before you can run it, there's a step that you need, the step of compiling your Java program, so that you have a bytecode that can now be run. So it is the Java compiler that translates your Java program file into the bytecode. When you give the command to run your Java program, this bytecode program is translated into machine language instructions and then executed by an interpreter. That interpreter is called the Java virtual machine. Okay. So as you saw yesterday, we ran this command, the Java compiler. Okay. Java compiler, the name of your program file, or it's called the Java source file. Okay, so I'm just gonna expand this my diagram just to show the flow of a process of actually running a Java program. So now we've got a bigger picture, is the heading of this tutorial says. So you've got a Java file, a Java program. Let me just show you how remind you how a Java program look like. This is a Java program. This technically it's called a Java source file. Okay, so you take this Java source file, then what are you gonna do with it? Then you tell the Java compiler using the command that we just saw, javac. Then you state the name javac Calculator.java. Then you have your program compiled to bytecode. Then you get your bytecode program. Then you feed the bytecode into the bytecode interpreter or a JVM. Then the JVM interprets it into machine language, which the computer can then read as machine language instructions. Then to these machine instructions, that is where you feed data, like we saw X and Y yesterday. Then the computer processes these machine language or bytecode translated processes, and then it gives you the output. I hope that clears the cloud that we might have left yesterday. Let us move to our next slide. Okay. So as I explained in the last slide, a Java source file is the code that you run, that you actually write, which is this one. Then when you actually compile javac, just go move to the folder where my program is, pwd, that should be relevant, academy java, that is where I put my Java source files. Then if I say ls, as you can see, we've got the calculator.java program here inside. Okay, now we want to compile it so that we can be able to run it. To compile, as I said, java calculator.java. Okay, when you do this, you're gonna create bytecode. To see the bytecode, you just say ls, and then you see now there's an additional file called calculator.class. That is the bytecode, which is then translated by the Java virtual machine into some assembly language that your machine can actually understand. That is very low level language. Okay, let us move ahead. Java class files is produced actually by the compiler, which is this your bytecode, the dot class. Now there's something that actually is worth noting. If you've got more than one Java classes inside of one source file, the Java compiler will create that equal number of your Java class file. What am I trying to say? Let us just quickly modify our program here. So I'm just gonna add a class that does nothing here. Don't worry about all these gimmicks that I'm putting here, because we're gonna explain all of these things. We haven't even explained a lot of things. So I'm just gonna say this class is called calculator helper. So I'm just gonna put an attribute private mod like this. That is another Java class inside of one program. I'm just gonna save this. So we said if there are more than two classes in one source file, the Java compiler is gonna produce all of those classes. Let us see if this is gonna work. Ls again listing. As you can see, there is a java.class file and also a calculator helper.class. So you're gonna see these two files in this folder. Okay, that is what I wanted you guys to see. Shall continue. What is the length of our video? That is almost 7. It's still good. What else can I let you guys know in this session? Let us move on to more terminology. We've got a syntax. So what is a syntax? The syntax of a programming language is just a set of grammatical rules, like in any language you would find. This is worth also googling for you guys. English language, when you're referring to something that is more than one, then it means it's plural, then it has to be in a particular form. Same with the program. As you can see, you don't just declare stuff in here. You don't just write stuff in here. When you declare class, let me just remove this, we no longer need it. Simplify things. So when you're declaring a public class, you have to, the syntax says you must have the public keyword. Then to ensure that to tell Java that to the class, you have to include the class word. Then this is a word which is not a keyword that you frame. Okay. Same with the main method. If you want to be able to run things, you need a main method in that class. That is where you test your procedures. So it's a syntax. If you are declaring integers, you need to make sure that the type that is included is an int type. That is a syntax again. This is called variable declaration, and at the same time it's you are assigning a value to the variable x. So that is how you assign a variable a value in Java. It's called a syntax. So I hope you understand the definition. Let us proceed. Then in algorithm, this is not a new word. This is not specific to Java. An algorithm is just a set of directories for solving a problem. It could be a mathematical problem, it could be a biological problem, it could be whatever problem that you may have. You design a solution that is basically those directions, a set of directions that you design to actually solve a problem is called an algorithm. Okay. Then when you are actually doing complex problems, you don't just do compile a set of directions inside of your head. You sit down, maybe you take a book and a pen and a paper, you start designing a logic of a set of directions. That is called that can be written in Java and also mixed Java and English. You are designing something that becomes your pseudocode. It doesn't really need to be straight English. It's just a mathematician who is actually designing a set of directions until they get their solution. Okay. We've got our basics there. So I'm just gonna make this like 13 to 15 long. So as you may have already noticed, I've already started mentioning of variables. So we're gonna jump into the syntax and just to see how things are done in Java. So the very basics that we're gonna start with is the variables. Okay. So we've got variables in our program. Okay, variables, just like in mathematics variables is where you store your information. Let x be equal to 6, let y be equal to 5. But now, because of our syntax, we need to declare that x is an integer, y is equal to an integer. So in this case, x is a variable, y is a variable, 6 is called a value that we are storing in x, 5 is a value that we are storing in y. These are variables. Okay. What else do we have? And as you can see in the slides, for memory, this is how you declare your variables. You can say type, which is int, and then the variable names. These you come up with them, and also be in mind that you shouldn't name your variables as a key name of a language. We'll discuss more about key names. I gave you an example, student number, page number. So this is the naming convention in Java when you're actually giving variable names. If it comprises of more than one word, then student is a small letter, and then the following is gonna number. If it was student number B, and then it was gonna be student number, then the B for B starts with a capital letter B. That is the naming convention. Double, we'll see also there are different kinds of variable types. Okay, what is on our next slide? So okay, cool. So as you have already noticed, there are more than one data types. Okay, we just saw integers and doubles here. Here, okay. So we have got two data types, categories, class types and primitive types. Class types actually belong to objects of a particular class. Class types, then primitive type is just a indecomposable, just like integers. We will go deeper with class types because it's a different topic where we need to understand classes and object of a class and the attributes of that class. So we will come back to this. So the primitive are the one we've already started with. That is your integer, that is your short, that is your long, that is your bytes, that is your double. Let me just quickly enlarge this table so that you guys can see. Okay. So you can maybe take a screenshot of this table or just Google about variable primitive types for Java. You see the range of values that are actually comprised in each variable type. That is very important to know because there are some operations that you can perform with a long that you can't with an integer. There are some operations that you can perform with an integer that you can not perform with short. So you need to know why you've chosen a particular type for the particular variable, which is important to us. Okay, I think I shall just end here. The 1 minute that is left, I just want to show you guys hands on variable declaration and variable assignment. So in Java, you can actually group variables or declare them at the same time if they are of the same type. For example, here I can just come here and say int x y. Okay, so this is called variable declaration. Okay, these are comments, they are not executed. I'm going to teach you more on comments later. So variable declaration. Okay, so after you have declared variables, Java now allows you to assign values to variables. Java will not allow you to assign values to variables that are not declared. So I can now actually assign some values to these variables. I can say x, like yesterday, like in our previous tutorial, x is equal to 6. Then I can then say y is equal to 5. This will still work. Okay, so today I just want us to end here. So this will still work. So variable declaration, what do we call this? We say it's called assign values to variables, basically storing data to all variables. Since is the first value that we're assigning to these variables is called initializing the variables. You can also call it that in case you come across that term in future. That is all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Bye.